Welcome to the Prize Fighting Business Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Casado, coming to you from the DA Media Studios in Boulder, Colorado. Today my guest is Bailey Winters. Bailey is a boxer and kickboxer with a record of 4-2 and 3-0 respectively. She has her next fight coming up this weekend, Saturday, April 27th, at the Sparta Combat League Legends Will Rise Army vs. Marines event. It's going down live at the Budweiser Event Center in Loveland, Colorado, with doors opening at 5 p.m. and fights starting at 6. In addition to fighting on Saturday night, Bailey will also be conducting the post-fight interviews for the other fighters on the card. So busy Saturday night for Bailey, and Bailey, certainly appreciate you making time to come to our studio today.
Absolutely. I'm excited to do it.
Great. So Bailey, tell me a little bit more about your fight coming up this weekend. I know you had a last-minute opponent change, and now potentially don't know who your opponent's going to be.
Yeah, so I had a really tough opponent planned out, first of all, at 120. Or at 115, actually, then a new opponent at 120. And now I heard yesterday that I might be fighting at 115 again. Not sure who the opponent's going to be. So kind of waiting to hear back by Thursday afternoon and then weighing in on Friday at either 115 or 120 and then fight on Saturday. So I'm ready for whatever's going to happen and just taking some deep breaths and staying calm.
Yeah.
Ready to fight.
So potentially at 115, potentially at 120, and original opponent was at 115, dropped out, then 120 dropped out.
Yeah, so back and forth all over the place.
Is that for health reasons, or what are the reasons?
The first girl was injured. The second girl hasn't turned in her medical information, and they're not sure if she's going to get it done in time.
I see.
So they found me a backup opponent just in case it doesn't get done, who already has her medicals done.
Oh, great.
So it's up in the air. We'll see.
Okay. And so you are 3-0 as a boxer?
In Muay Thai.
Or in Muay Thai, I'm
Yep.
sorry, and 4-2 as a boxer.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so what attracted you to boxing for this fight as opposed to kickboxing?
I started out originally as a boxer. That's all I really wanted to do, and that's kind of how I first fell in love with the sport. I ran into some trouble finding fights, and adding in kickboxing and Muay Thai kind of opened up some more opportunities for me, just to find some more fights, get some more experience. I really like Muay Thai, but I've always liked boxing just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time since I've done boxing. This will be my first boxing match in 4 years. So,
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah,
So
excited to get back to my roots.
absolutely, a little bit of a layoff there for 4 years. So what kind of got you back into training for boxing specifically and more oriented towards that as opposed to kickboxing?
Well, I train with a primarily Muay Thai team, so that's what I've been doing lately. But I missed boxing. I feel more confident with my boxing. I think I'm a little bit better and just more naturally a boxer than a Muay Thai fighter. And I just kind of missed it. So I talked to my coach about it. He was excited about it too. So we decided to take a boxing match.
Very nice. And you mentioned that you train primarily with the Muay Thai team. Who is that?
I train at East in Boulder.
Okay.
My coach now is Matt Bloss, and just working with all the guys there.
So how does fight camp differ when you're preparing for boxing as opposed to kickboxing?
It's been interesting. We've kind of been figuring it out as we go because there's no boxing classes there. So I just kind of do the Muay Thai classes and just throw punches instead. But then just working one-on-one with Matt a lot lately. And then all my sparring partners have been really great, just giving me some boxing rounds and working with me with that and just being flexible with what I'm trying to do and helping me achieve my goals. So that's been really awesome.
Great. And do you find that training camp for boxing differs from that of kickboxing?
Other than not throwing punches and kicks, not really. My workouts are pretty much structured the same. I'm working with the same training partners. So, yeah, it's pretty much the same. I feel good about it, just like I do with my Muay Thai. So it's been good.
What does a normal week of fight camp look like for you preparing for this type of fight?
So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll typically do some kind of run and some kind of bag rounds, whether it's kind of more of a distance run or sprints. And then Tuesday, Thursdays, more technique work. I'll do some technical sparring or some mitt work with my coaches. And then Saturday is my hard sparring day. And then Sunday is usually my rest day.
Training 6 days a week then?
Yeah.
And do you normally train in the morning or afternoon?
Usually I'll do my running in early morning, late afternoon, and then my bag rounds or technique work at night.
Okay. And so is this your full-time job as far as training, or do you have a day job that you balance as well?
No, I have a lot of jobs actually.
Okay.
So,
Tell me more about this.
Yeah. So my primary job, I work with a real estate investment company doing marketing. And that's kind of the job that, pays my bills, stuff like that. And then I have a bunch of fun jobs on the side. I do the interviews for Sparta Combat League.
Right.
And I love doing that. I also have my own company selling my art. I'm a painter.
Very nice.
So I do a lot of that. And then I coach at Title Boxing Club in Fort Collins. So I coach some boxing and kickboxing up there. And then fighting also. So staying busy, but it's all like fun, exciting things that I really get to enjoy.
Yeah, and a lot to balance,
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yeah, finding the balance is hard, and that's been something I've worked on a lot lately, and still not perfect, but continuing to work on it and starting to figure it out a little bit.
How do you find balance? Do you prioritize one versus another? Do you feel like you need to prioritize?
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. Like during fight camp, obviously, the fight's the priority. That's what I put all my time and energy into, but then it turns into like everything else kind of gets pushed to the side.
Sure.
So after fight camp, I gotta go back and pick things up and get caught up with everything. But all my jobs are really flexible, so it's great, and I've been able to make it all work. And I can kind of put as much effort and time into each one as I want to, so kind of bouncing around depending on which one I want to prioritize at the time. So I enjoy doing that for sure.
Yeah, and flexibility is key, I think, when you're trying to pursue a martial arts dream. So.
Absolutely. My primary job, the real estate investment marketing job, I get to work from home. I set my own hours.
Nice.
So it allows for, again, a lot of flexibility, which is really great.
And allows you to pay the bills for martial arts training.
Exactly, yes, which can be expensive. So it all works out.
What does that look like for you as far as expenses around training camp for a fight?
Primarily just paying for the gym membership is the biggest thing, but then you have to think of things like getting your blood work done, getting licensed with the state, stuff like that. So it's whenever you want to fight, there's a few more expenses, but primarily just the gym expense.
Yeah, and if we could just dig into that a little bit more. So what is required to qualify for fighting in Colorado as far as blood work or exams? Yeah,
so you have to get licensed with the state, and basically you just register and pay a fee for that. You have to get your blood work done just to prove you don't have any diseases or anything. And then as a female, you also have to get a pregnancy test done. So just like little random stuff like that.
Do you have an idea of how much that would cost you?
I think the blood work's around $100. Probably no more than $200.
Okay. So $200 to be able to fight, and would that last you a year, or are you getting that done each time you fight?
Yeah, well, so the blood test lasts, I think, a year. Might be less than that. The pregnancy test you have to do each time before you fight.
Okay.
And then the license with the state lasts a year as well.
Okay, very nice. So leading into this boxing match with the opponent to be determined currently, how does that change anything in your preparation? Do you normally prepare for a specific opponent, or are you generally preparing to be the best you possible, and then whoever the opponent is, it doesn't really matter?
Sure. Always obviously trying to be the best fighter I can be. When I had my very first original opponent, I knew a little bit about her. I found some fight footage on her, and so I game planned a little bit around that. She's taller than most of my opponents have been, and so I watched some of her fight film. She was really good at using the basics well. So just kind of my game plan was, to be more dynamic, to move, use my footwork, use my head movement, and then it changed. So the next girl I was fighting, I couldn't find any fight film on her. I know kind of how tall to expect her to be, and I know her record, so I didn't have much to go off of for that. This other girl that I may be fighting is a whole nother different kind of fighter. She has more MMA experience rather than boxing, and she's shorter. So I'm kind of just prepared for whatever, I'm in shape. I have drilled some specific techniques that I know will work on any of these girls, and then kind of just getting in the ring and seeing how it goes from there. But yeah, preparing as well as I can, but mostly just getting myself in shape.
Yeah, and I know that we're not completely positive on the weight class. You mentioned 115, 120. For either of those, would you have to cut weight for this fight?
So I weigh about, this morning I weighed 118. So I can easily make 115 if I need to. I'd be a little underweight at 120, but having to be prepared for either one. I feel good where my weight's at right now and hoping to find out sooner rather than later which weight class it is. So
absolutely.
I don't have to do the weight cut if I don't have to.
Right.
But if I need to, it won't be a problem.
And how do you generally go about cutting weight?
This fight camp, I've been working with a new nutritionist. Her name's Laylee Liederman, and she put together a plan for me and kind of structured what times I'm supposed to eat and gave me examples of meals to prep and kind of just went by macros of how to maintain my weight. That was the biggest thing for me this fight camp is just kind of maintaining my weight because in the past I've lost weight quicker than I wanted to and been low energy. But this time around, I was able to maintain my weight a little better. And then, just at the end, water load and salt load, and then cut out the salt. And then the weight falls off from there. And then I'll sweat out any extra water that I need to get to 115.
So it sounds to me like you're doing the bulk of the weight cut by eating healthier leading up until that final week of the fight. Final week of the fight, water loading, adding weight that way, and then sodium, and then cutting out the sodium so the water falls off.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end.
Yeah, and it's gone really well so far. I've had a lot more energy this time around, and I felt really good about where my body's been, where my weight's been this whole time. So
good.
I feel good, feel confident.
Good. Well, I certainly love the idea of building a team of experts around you. You mentioned, having your coach in place. Having a nutritionist in place, is that something that you pay for as far as the nutritionist, or is she?
Yeah, I had seen her on social media. She'd been working with some other fighters I know, so I contacted her and just asked her kind of how she does things and what that was like, and I liked what she had to say, and I wanted someone to help me with it because, I could do it, but I wouldn't be doing it the best way,
right?
And I wanted to do it the best way, so her plans worked really well for me.
Yeah, hiring a professional is certainly beneficial, I think.
Yes, definitely.
So you mentioned that you saw her on social media, so social media marketing works, at least in this case.
It did. It definitely did. Got me on the hook.
Good. And what does she work specifically with fighters? Is that
she
what
does,
you had
yeah.
seen?
She specializes in weight cuts, basically. So
Really?
she works with a lot of fighters. Lockhart and Lean, I believe, is kind of who she's certified through.
Okay.
I don't know much about that, but I know through my experience with her how she does it. And like I said, she gives me times of days to eat, and that's pretty specific.
Interesting.
Eating at a certain time before my workout or after my workout, and then adding in supplements at certain times as well, too. It's been going really well.
So she's telling you what to eat and when to eat it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
It's not exact foods. Like, it's not like eat chicken and broccoli at this time. It's more like eat this much protein, this much carbs, and this much fat. So going off of the macros and kind of helps it be flexible because I can mix it up a little bit if I want to, which has been nice because I've actually got to enjoy what I'm eating too,
Good.
Which is very helpful. So I'm not angry eating all the time in
Hangry.
fight camp. Yes.
Yeah. So you go to her for the nutritional advice, for the timing advice, but you're the one that's actually cooking it then?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
She has a plan where she makes the meals for you,
Oh.
but that's quite a bit more expensive.
Sure.
So I just went with the meal plan that she wrote out for me.
That's nice, though.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you still get to create it. Mm-hmm. Cool. So this event coming up this weekend, April 27th, Sparta Combat League, you are boxing in it, but there's also the Army versus Marines aspect to it.
Yes.
Could you tell me a little bit more about the event? What's going on?
Oh, it's going to be such an exciting event. So Sparta Combat League's been doing this new tournament called the King or Queen of Sparta, where it's an 8-man tournament or woman tournament. The first round of the tournament is all boxing. The second round of the tournament is all kickboxing, and then the third round is MMA. So you're potentially having 3 fights in one night. On this specific event, they're doing the 130-pound King of Sparta, and they have, I believe, 6 of the 8 people in that tournament are all affiliated with the military somehow.
Oh,
they
wow,
tried to get
okay.
all 8, but they got 6, which is
Sure.
still pretty cool.
That is great.
So they have a ring and a cage set up, and they're, like I said, doing some of the boxing fights, which I'm included in. Then they're also doing some kickboxing, and then moving over to the cage to do MMA. So you kind of get to see a little bit of everything, and they've got a lot of good fights lined up. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a good one for sure.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
So how are you going to balance fits it all in that night then? Is your fight early in the card and then you'll be interviewing everybody, or how is that layout going to work for you?
So I will be fighting 7th, I believe,
Okay.
and then doing all the interviews after that. My last fight I did interviews before, then fought, and then did interviews after, and my coach told me I'm not allowed to do that anymore. He wanted me a little more focused.
Sure,
but,
I could see that.
so I understand. But yeah, so I'm fighting 7th, then I'll run backstage, change into a dress, and then do some interviews afterwards.
Awesome,
Yeah.
okay. So you're going to do the interviews for the post-fight show, or the post-fight interviews really with the fighters, and then as far as they're concerned, do they interview with you every time they fight, or is it only at the end of the tournament you interview the winner? How does it work for
so
you?
each fight, the winner comes back to like my little setup area, and I just interview them, talk to them about their fight, kind of what their game plan was, if it went the way they thought they would, what's going to be next for them, and then always, ask them who they want to thank, stuff like that.
Very nice. And do you get paid for that type of job?
I do, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's a fun new job that I started back last August, I think, and I've been doing it like once or twice a month since then.
So a handful of income streams for you,
Yeah,
and a couple of them around martial arts. That's
Right.
nice.
Yes, definitely.
Allows you
Get
to flex the
be around
passion.
what I love all the time.
Yeah. So how did you first get involved with the interview and hosting?
So I had fought for Sparta Combat League before, years ago. I fought for them a few times and had a little bit of a relationship with Jeff. He's the owner, Jeff Cisneros.
Okay.
And it was actually my dad's idea. He was like, "Oh, you should see if Jeff would let you do the post-fight interviews." And I was like, "No, I don't want to. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to do that." And he's like, "No, I think you'd like it. It would be fun." So I just messaged Jeff and I was like, "Hey, what do you think about me being your post-fight interview girl? I think it could be cool, and I think I would be good at it." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I love the idea." So we met, we talked about it, kind of set some stuff up, and he had me do a trial run, and that went well, so I've been doing it ever since.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
every Sparta Combat League event, you will be doing the post-fight interviews?
Yep, I'm their girl now.
Very nice. Very nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I really love it. I've met so many people, like all the fighters and coaches and just all the people who come to the events. It's been such a fun way to build community within the martial arts, so I've loved every minute of it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know you have your upcoming boxing match. This will be your 7th boxing match
Yes.
total? Okay. So what do you envision as far as your future in boxing?
So on my run the other day, I was kind of planning what I wanted my next goals to be, and I haven't told anybody this publicly yet, but my next fight, after I win this fight this weekend, I want to ask Jeff for a title fight. I'm undefeated for Sparta Combat League in Muay Thai and boxing, so I'm going to talk to him about getting me a title fight. And then he's got a card in Vegas coming up, so I want to be on that card. I think it'd be really fun to fight in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas, wow.
Yeah.
So, and for our listeners, the Sparta Combat League is a bigger regional promotion, but it sounds to me like you're saying they're going to be expanding to other states as well?
Yeah, they've done one fight card in Vegas before.
Okay.
They've done some in a few other states as well. I know they're also trying to expand internationally. They want to go to Ireland, so that's kind of been in the works, which would be really cool. But yeah, Vegas coming up. They're planning on late summer, so that might be happening. And then after I fight on that Vegas card, I might be making my MMA debut.
Oh, wow.
See.
Okay. So a true mixed martial artist then.
Yeah, I've been taking some jiu-jitsu lately, and it's still at the very beginner stages of it. But right now I'm kind of fighting just for new experiences. I'm not trying to be world champ or anything. I just love it. It's fun. And I think fighting MMA would be a new experience that I would enjoy. So
Absolutely.
I might try it. We'll see.
And a good test.
Yes, exactly. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So let's back up a minute then. And could you tell me a little bit more kind of about how you got started in mixed martial arts or martial arts in general? I know you mentioned boxing was your first love or first passion.
Yeah. It was just kind of a weird idea that popped into my head that I couldn't get rid of. I wanted to know what it would be like to get in a fight. I had never been in a fight. I'd never been punched. I'd never punched somebody. And it sounded like the kind of thing that would be scary, but in a good way. So I wanted to try it, and I didn't even know where to start. So I just kind of went into a gym and asked questions, and then found someone who kind of took me under his wing and taught me about boxing.
How old were you at this time?
I was 23 when I started.
Okay.
So 6 years ago. But yeah, I tried it. I lost my first fight. but learned a lot, and, still really enjoyed it after that, and I wanted to keep going. My goal initially was just to have one fight. So I had one fight, really liked it, wanted to do more, and then I competed in the Golden Gloves tournament pretty quickly after that, and I won that.
Wow.
And
wow.
So I won that, and I felt confident after that.
Very
I felt
impressive.
I really can do this. I might actually be good at this, and so I kept doing it since then, and I've never looked back.
So you won the Golden Gloves. How many fights had you had at that point in boxing?
That was my, it was my second and third fight in that tournament.
And did you have any kickboxing experience at that time?
No, not at all. And actually, it was pretty soon after I did Golden Gloves that I started kind of training kickboxing, learning how to throw kicks, stuff like that. But it was never... For a while, it still wasn't a goal to compete in it. My coach was a Muay Thai fighter, and he kind of got me interested in it. And like I said, it opened up a lot more opportunity for me to find fights. So I tried it. I liked it too. I kept going with that.
Keep you active.
Exactly. Yeah, I wanted to fight, so I would kick people.
How do you go about finding your fights?
Talking to the promoters, usually they're able to. As a female, it's pretty difficult to find fights just because there's not a lot of girls in the sport. But then when you narrow it down into weight classes, there's less opportunity. And then when you start to get a little more experience, like I've gotten, there's even less opportunity. So it's hard to find matchups for sure. And this isn't very typical, but a lot of times I'll search Facebook to try to find girls in my weight class who compete, and then I'll just send it to the promoter being like, hey, here's a girl, can I fight her?
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing your own matchmaking.
Kind of. I mean, not necessarily supposed to, but if it gets me a matchup, then I'm going to do it because, like I said, I just want to fight. I've gone as far as messaging girls directly being like, hey, do you want to fight?
Yeah.
Which is kind of an awkward thing to say to someone. But
how does it usually go over with them?
It's been, as long as I approach it nicely, they respond nicely. It's never been an issue. It's just kind of weird to ask someone, hey, do you want to fight me?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gotten a couple of fights that way, so it works.
Have you ever had to go the path of talking crap to other fighters to generate a fight?
I've thought about it, but that's not me. I could never do that.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't. It wouldn't come off genuine even if I tried.
Sure. So potentially reaching out to people directly on Facebook, but more often than not working with the promoter.
Yeah, that's how it should go.
Saying you're looking for a fight.
Exactly. And just working with my coaches too, always getting them to, approve these girls, make sure we're taking the smart matchups, and they always have the final say. So
your coaches have the final say.
Yeah.
And what does a good or smart matchup look like for you?
For me as a fighter, I'm like, I'll fight anybody.
Sure.
I don't specifically know what my coach's criteria is, but in my head, I'm like, I'll fight anybody. So I just leave it up to them.
That's a good attitude to have. And you mentioned that you were 3 fights in when you won the Golden Gloves tournament. Were you at a boxing-specific gym at that time?
No, I was actually training at Trials MMA, so it was an MMA gym up in Fort Collins.
Local Colorado, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't have any boxing classes there either. But like I said, the guy, my coach, Brian Scraper, he kind of took me under his wing, and he had a bit of a boxing background too, so he just kind of taught me everything he knew and really supported me in what my goals were specifically. So he worked a lot with me one-on-one and prepared me for boxing-specific stuff. And then, the MMA or kickboxing fighters at Trials would do boxing rounds with me there as well too. So, always a team effort for sure.
And when you were preparing for these fights at Trials, for boxing specifically, were you incorporating kicks into your training, or were you only training boxing?
Not at that time. It was all boxing. I didn't have any interest in kickboxing or Muay Thai at first.
Yeah.
My goals were always just with boxing, but once I stopped being able to find fights, I had to add in something. So
it was the lack of being able to find fights that really drove that transition towards kickboxing?
Yeah, it was. And I went to Thailand too.
Very nice.
Yeah, so...
and this is before you had ever taken a kickboxing fight?
Yeah, it was pretty much when I was learning about kickboxing, learning about Muay Thai, learning how to throw kicks, all of that. I went over to Thailand, with my boyfriend at the time, and because he was fighting Muay Thai, it was like one of his bucket list items. So I went with him just to kind of experience it as well. And I enjoyed it. I still liked boxing a little better. Always still a little partial to boxing, but I love Muay Thai. But then over there, I got some, traditional training, learned the Thai style of doing things.
Right.
My first practice there, they laughed at me because I was like moving like a boxer, and they're
Sure.
like, no, that is not how you do it. So they taught me how to be a Thai boxer. And after that experience, I knew I wanted to at least try Muay Thai.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I tried it, I liked it, and I kept going with it.
It's hard to experience that culture and not get excited about Thai boxing.
Yeah, totally. Especially when you're over there and you see the way they do it. The funniest thing I saw when I was over there is one of the trainers from the gym. He was maybe late 30s, early 40s, but he had been fighting all his life like they do over there. And we were at a fight night, and he was like sitting in the stands drinking beers, probably a little bit drunk, and then one of the opponents didn't show up, and they asked him to fight, so he went into the ring drunk and just beat this guy up for 3 rounds and got a knockout. It was crazy. Fighting's not a big deal to them over there, so It's a whole different experience for sure.
How long were you there for?
I was out there for a month.
Oh, wow.
Out there for a
Okay,
month.
so full month, and were you training full time?
Pretty much, yeah. We would do 2-a-day practices and then take 1 day off to enjoy the beach, get some sun. But the gym we were at was probably 100 feet from the beach. So
Very nice. What gym was that?
Diamond Muay Thai in Koh Yeah, a little island off the coast.
I think that there's some company on Instagram I saw once, I believe it's like Muay Thai Holidays or Muay Thai Vacations, and I know they're out of that Diamond MMA school a lot.
Yeah, it's a good one, especially to get a little bit of the island life, the beach, all that, and then train all day too. So I liked it.
An investment into your martial arts journey as well.
Exactly.
Cool. So you started out in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Thailand after 3 or 4 boxing matches, winning Golden Gloves, go with the boyfriend, experience that Thai culture and Thai boxing culture, and that helps you transition to kickboxing and get you excited about taking a fight. When was the actual transition into your first kickboxing or Muay Thai fight?
When I got back from Thailand, I think it was maybe like a month later that I took my first Muay Thai fight. And in that fight, all I did was clinch the girl and throw knees. That's all I did for 3 rounds, and it was exhausting. But I won the fight, and yeah, it was a good experience. I was so exhausted after clinching for 3 rounds, but I got into the clinch, and I realized that not a lot of girls in America, maybe guys too, I don't know, but just from my experience, not a lot of girls over here that I fought know much about the clinch, and that's something that we worked on a lot in Thailand. So I felt like I had a good advantage there, so I just hung on to that for 3 rounds.
Yeah, at least from my experience, I would agree. Even on the men's side, it seems to be a little bit more of a kickboxing-oriented culture in the U.S. versus,
for sure,
Eastern European, Russia, China. Maybe not so much China because of the K1 rules, but Russia and seems to be more Muay Thai oriented, and then also boxing. And you mentioned in Thailand how they approach training or approach the sport differently. How do you feel it differs from in the United States?
They're just so more laid back about it. For me, I prepare for 6 to 8 weeks very intensely for one specific fight. There, they just train all day, every day, fight 2-3 times a week sometimes. It's just more of a way of life rather than a big thing you have to build up to like it is here in the States.
Yeah.
Over there, most people know even 3, 4, 5-year-old kids are fighting. It's just their life over there. That's how it goes.
So you go to Thailand, you see the Thai ways, you train Muay Thai, you come back, you take your first fight a month after your trip to Thailand. What happens after that? What's next from there? Are you still into that Muay Thai journey, or are you back to boxing?
Yeah, I don't know. I would do either at this point. So wherever there's opportunity, like I said, I just want to fight. So I want new experiences, and wherever I can get them, I'll take them. And then, like I said, maybe eventually MMA. We'll see.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm headed.
What were your goals when you first started?
When I very first started, it's just one fight.
Yeah.
And then after that, I kind of reevaluated. Then the goal was Golden Gloves, and I won that. So I reevaluated, and from there, I decided I wanted to have a Muay Thai fight. And then I took a little time off. I I think I got a little burnt out, honestly, because I was just fighting back to back to back and always in training camp. And then when things happen, like opponents fall through, then you're just literally in training camp all year long. And that gets exhausting. So I took a little time off and prioritized some of the other stuff, like my art business. I prioritized that for a couple years. And then I really missed fighting, so I wanted to do that again. And now my life's completely swung back to fighting's my priority, and everything in my life is all about fighting again. But I'm enjoying it fully, 100%.
Well, that's a good point. I think that, a lot of people experience that kind of shifting to and from, maybe drift away from the gym a little bit and then come back re-energized and reinvigorated. So how do you feel that the time off either helped you or hurt you as far as your training coming back?
I'm definitely glad I did it because I did feel reinvigorated getting back into it. I'm glad I took the time I did to focus on the other things because those are always still like in me, in my heart, and I wanted to do them. So, I'm glad I did it. But I'm very happy to be where I am now. I'm very happy to be focused on fighting again, to be surrounding to be surrounded with people in the fight community. I've always felt like those kind of people who are training or are fighting are the kind of people who are working to make themselves better each day. That's why we show up to the gym. That's why we take fights. And being around people like that all the time, can only make me a better person as well. So I really like where I'm at right now, and that's kind of where I plan to stay for a while.
Beautiful. And in regards to kind of when we're not in fight camp, normal training, what does that look like for you outside of a fight?
I take it a little easier for sure. Less running because I hate running.
Yeah.
But then just with my diet too, I'm not near as strict. I'll take more time to spend with my friends, take a little more time to work on some of my art projects. And I think also another big shift when I'm not in fight camp is just not focusing so much on myself. I feel like during fight camp, I have to be pretty selfish with my time, with my energy, all of that. But I like giving back and, helping other people. I especially like encouraging other women to train.
Yeah.
That's something
That's great.
I think more girls should do it. I wish more girls would. So, I try to encourage other ladies to join the sport or just help them get up the courage and confidence to fight because fighting's done so much for me that if other girls are interested, I like to help encourage them. So, just working with my training partners too and just giving back a little more to the fight community.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you do have to be a little bit selfish inside of training camp and fight camp, which is completely understandable. What sacrifices do you feel like you have had to make this camp or just in general in past fights to focus as much as you need to feel confident in your fight?
The biggest thing is just spending time with my friends, usually working out twice a day really hard. Like I'm tired. And if I have free time, I just want to lay on the couch. I don't want to go out and socialize or I can't just go grab a beer with my friends or anything like that. So, I miss my friends a lot during fight camp for sure. And I have a trip coming up after this fight camp to go on a little girls' trip to Florida with my friends.
Oh, beautiful.
To
nice.
Celebrate the win, hopefully.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is just time with my friends. I miss a lot.
Is that what you normally do after a fight? Go away or go on vacation?
No, this is my first time planning a trip for after my fight, so I'm excited about it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. And so do you have any dreams of going pro, or is this just a hobby for you?
Yeah, I would like to at some point before I stop fighting. The goal right now is just to have at least one pro fight. I want to say I did it. I want to say I was a professional fighter.
But it could be like the amateur where you just take one amateur fight and
Who knows? My
snowballs
goals
into a
have
career.
been ever changing ever since I started the sport. Like I said, the goal right now is one fight, and then we'll go from there. If I want to keep doing it, I absolutely will. But if not, I would be satisfied with one.
And do you envision your martial arts journey extending to the end of your fighting career, or do you envision it going past that?
I'm sure I'll still train. I'm sure I'll still be coaching a little bit as well. And like I said, just encouraging other females to fight. That's a big thing for me. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever not do it. But as far as competing goes, we'll see.
Sure. So more specifically to this fight, what does recovery look like for you in training? I know you mentioned you utilize a nutritionist, so hopefully cutting down on the necessary recovery time. But
Right.
do you, utilize yoga or active recovery of any type? What does it look like?
I worked in a little bit of hot yoga for this fight camp, which is my first time doing that. But it made my body feel really good for sure. And then I also go to a chiropractor every week. That helps.
Really?
Yeah.
Every week? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Every week. And
Is
then...
that in the middle of the week of training, or do you save it till the end?
It just depends. As long as I get it once a week,
Sure.
then I'm happy. But then usually closer to fights too, I'll get a massage once a week, just to kind of make sure things are feeling good going into the fight.
And do you feel that the nutritionist provides enough as far as giving you advice on eating, or do you supplement with protein or anything like that in fight camp?
Yeah, so she's kind of worked all of that in. She gave
Really?
me some supplements to take before and after my workouts,
Okay.
and specific times to take extra protein. And she gave me suggestions for which brands to use as well. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. It's nothing fancy, but just help me keep my energy and my strength and recover with the protein, stuff like that.
Balanced with the nutrients.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this fight coming up for you, this is going to be how many fights under the Sparta Combat League?
Oh, with Sparta? Let's see. 1, 2, I think my 4th fight with Sparta.
So 4th fight, and so you're 3-0 under the Sparta banner
Yes.
up to this point.
Yes.
This would be the 4th fight, and then you were candid enough to let us know that you would be interested in a title shot after
That's
that.
my plan. Going for it.
That's the pitch, at least,
Yeah.
to Jeff.
Yeah, I think I can sweet talk him.
Yeah. Well, that'd be great, and certainly good luck with that.
Thank you.
Do you have any, before we let you go, do you have any tips for young fighters looking to potentially make it pro, or even just, journey along this amateur career?
I feel like a lot of people think, a lot of people have the idea that, oh, maybe I'd want to do this, but they're scared or don't have the confidence or
Absolutely.
don't know even the questions to ask of how to get there. So I think just, if you have that dream or that aspiration, I always like to encourage people that, you can do this. It's not impossible. You can do this. So just getting that idea in their head, letting them know that it is possible, I think makes a big difference to hear from someone.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love the involvement you have in the community and encouraging young fighters as well as women to get more involved and pursue their martial arts dream. And I love that you're pursuing yours as well. And you have this fight coming up Saturday, so good luck to you there.
Thank you so much.
And certainly appreciate your time and coming on the podcast, Bailey.
Yeah, this has been really fun. Thanks, Dan.
Absolutely. Thank you.